Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's 3 weeks into my Easter break now. I haven't been making the diary videos as I normally would because it's the Easter break. We get 5 weeks off, and I've basically been doing nothing but revise, so I really didn't think they were worth doing. But what I thought I would do is put together just a little short one now. I'm 60% of the way through the holiday, just to kind of let you guys know what's been going on, what are my thoughts at the moment. My thoughts at the moment, let's just start with that. I'm not insane yet, but getting there. It's been a real slog. So in 3 weeks, and I've been home for a week as well. So in 3 weeks, I've done 2 blocks. Basically, I've started block 3 now, so I've covered block 1, which was gastrointestinal, abdominal stuff, and we covered like metabolism and diabetes, things like that. It was health, homeostasis and metabolism. Block 2, which I've just finished, was blood, lungs and heart, so kind of cardiopulmonary systems. And I've just started block 3 for my revision, which is neuro, so I've got a week to do that. Then I will have a week left of my holiday to do block 4, which was the musculoskeletal block, very anatomy based, had a lot less content in it. Blocks 1 and 2 have been really heavy in terms of the amount of separate tasks that they have in them, like high numbers of lectures and guided learning and CBL and things on top of that. So I was having to do 7 or 8 tasks a day, which would take maybe 6 or 7 hours to do those 7 or 8 tasks, and then obviously more to go through and try and learn them properly. And essentially what I've been doing is I've got a folder like this, just like a standard A4 ring binder for each block, and basically there's a lot of notes I've been going through, doing all my handwritten notes again. That's not very useful, but I'll try and show you this as best as I can. The labels are wrong at the moment. I need to get new file dividers, but basically they're organised by week. Everything is in a nice plastic wallet. It's all nicely organised, so they're split down into lectures, weeks 1 to 5, then the guided learning, CBL, the anatomy workbook, and my drawings. I don't know whether you can see that at all, but my drawings and things at the back, which I'm doing new ones as well. So for every single block, I have a folder like this, and they're pretty much full by the end. There's a lot of material to cover. And just thinking more widely, this period, I think more than any other point in the year, and this is important to document, I think, for posterity and for prospective medical students, which many of you will be. I've come through a degree once, did my molecular biology degree, scraped a first, was happy with that. This period now, this Easter holiday, I have worked kind of flat out harder. I've worked harder at this, or had to work harder to cover everything, than anything else I've ever done, ever. And some of the things are up there in complexity with the more difficult things I did in my first degree. On the whole, the intellectual challenge, I think, of this medical course so far has been lower than some elements of my first degree, because that was more like the molecular signalling and stuff like that. It was a lot more niche and complicated. But I keep saying this all the time, that the change is in the sheer volume of content. My notes in there, you know, I've filled an A4 ring binder like that per block. That's not like the full level of detail that's presented to you. That's my notes that I went through and made, and I eliminated the stuff that I thought wasn't, practically speaking, worth learning for the exams. I'm absolutely firmly convinced, and so is everyone else on the course as far as I'm aware that I've spoken to, the sheer amount of detail is just too much for one person to try and learn. You need to pick and choose and study smart. So for me, that's meant eliminating superfluous content where I can, and working out what the core principles from each lecture I need to learn are, and looking at the prescriptive set of learning objectives that it's specified we should know. We get a huge great list of them, and just ticking those off as I go and making sure I've covered like to a baseline everything I need to, but not in masses of detail. And I think a big part, this is a completely separate tangent I'm about to go on, but a big part of being able to keep up with the rate of work that I'm trying to get through has been keeping my sleep and eating under control. I'm one of those people that sort of forgets to eat, or if I'm working on something hard and focused on it, that is what I will stay focused on and kind of work at it until it's done without sleeping or eating or doing anything. And I think there is a tendency, I certainly was like that before, to fetishize that kind of behavior, to fetishize isn't the right word, but to consider that sort of tireless lack of self-care work pattern as the ultimate, and it's just not good for you. Having been through both sides of it myself now, I am happier because I'm sleeping better. I'm still getting up early, like sort of 4:45, 5 o'clock, and doing some exercise and getting a good breakfast in the morning before I do anything else. It might take until 6, half 6 to do that, but spending the time has been so worth it for me because it puts me in such a good frame of mind to just handle the tasks, and you can just work at them, get into a state of flow and go one by one, but do not burn the candle at both ends. I go to bed early to compensate for that. I've had problems with insomnia since being a teenager. I'm nearly 22 now. In 2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks I will be 22, which is terrifying, but I do at least like have that experience now, I suppose, and look after your sleep and look after your eating, and meal planning has been a huge part of that for me. Just writing down, like, I'm going to exercise now and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to eat, and just having that plan, because then you can get ingredients and things in and pre-cook stuff, so then it's just there ready for you. I think that's been the biggest learning experience for me. And I haven't been doing the blog diary updates. I have actually kind of half written them for every day. I have things scrolled down and I have been taking pictures and things, so I know what I was doing on each day, and I will retroactively get them up to speed at some point, because I'm aware that I'm now like 2 weeks behind on doing that, if not slightly more. They will be sorted. They will be sorted before too long. And like I said, I'm back in Leamington now. This is obviously my uni room. 2 more weeks of holiday, then on my birthday, actually, we start block 5. So that's going to be fun. We then have 5 weeks of teaching, then I think roughly a week, and then my exams start on the 4th of June. So I've got kind of a month and 3/4 left. I think I can do it. I'm not sure of like how well I will do, but to be honest, just passing is the goal. I feel if I can pass this year, I think I'll be fine. Obviously the thing with these exams is they're so high stake, because if you get not kicked off, but if you fail out of med school, as far as I'm aware, you're basically blacklisted from medical schools in the UK. So failing these exams, it would be a case of find something else to do and not this thing that you've kind of been aiming for so long. And I do actually have a plan B. I think if I were to fail out, because like I'm not saying it's part of the plan, but I think having alternative plans is always a good idea, because then you're never caught short-handed. I would go and do some anatomy study. I think I would I'd try to get onto a PhD program, I think would be the plan, because that is the thing I've found that I've loved doing more than anything. I find it so interesting, it's so elegant as a study, and that's potentially a route that I would go down. I was due to start, I'm not sure whether I've mentioned this, I was due to start a PhD, or at least I was accepted onto a PhD program before I found out about med school, at Warwick, and that was in kind of plant virus engineering, so it would be a far cry from that, but I guess you're exposed to new things and you find new things interesting. But that aside, I am very much planning on passing these exams. So we have 3 days of exams, then we have 4 days, and then the OSCEs. And I've actually got, so 21st and 22nd of April, last 2 days of the holiday, I am booked onto a preclinical kind of revision cram weekend at Birmingham Medical School, which the MedSoc here negotiated us half-price tickets for, so that was £50 for 2 days of tutoring, and like 50 quid, it's, you know, it's a lot of money, but given the amount of work and money and time and everything that I've put in so far, and it gets you a lot of online resources as well, I think it'll be worth it. I'm hoping so. There's a few from the course are going. There were quite a few places for Warwick Med students, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, just plodding on, really. 2 more weeks, 2 more blocks, revision weekend, then that'll bring us to the 23rd of April, let's have another week, then 4 or 5 weeks, then exams. So basically I'm getting my information base together, going through all the blocks again, getting all my notes, all my diagrams sorted, so I should have that done by the time block 5 starts. Then block 5 is just going to be cramming. I've just had to change shocks. I ran out of space on my camera card, very annoyingly. There are a couple of other things I want to kind of bring up before finishing off this video. The first is that I keep getting messages. I'm getting more messages than ever because the YouTube channel, and we're still picking up traffic, which is really good, even though I'm not uploading anything. I'm getting more messages from people all the time on Twitter and through the website and all these things. People that are interested in applying, which is just amazing. I'm really happy with kind of how many people this little project has been able to reach. I think it's been a really positive thing. So again, thank you all for getting in touch. If you're even, you know, thinking about applying on some level, go for it. I guess you never know if you don't try it, and I think if you think you have an inclination towards medicine, the chances are you probably do. I still can't believe that I'm here, to be perfectly honest. Like, it still has not sunk in properly that I'm at med school studying to become a doctor. It's still this ridiculously idolatrous thing in my head. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up was how supportive both other students in my year and students in the older years, those above me, how supportive they've been. And that's something that's been brand new to me. It didn't happen at all when I was studying at Newcastle. Admittedly, I was doing biology, but I think maybe it's because it's medicine and it's a more collaborative discipline, arguably. Maybe it's because the people are older. Maybe it's because, you know, it's a postgrad course. But the environment, and I think it's a real testament to Warwick Med School. I can't speak for other med schools because I haven't been to them, obviously, but the environment is just so supportive, both with the lecturers. You can email them, they'll answer whatever you want quickly, or the teaching staff in the hospitals, or particularly, as I've noticed through the revision period, older students. I was sat in the Leamington Learning Grid this afternoon, which is like a library space in Leamington Spa. I noticed that the person sat next to me was an older medical student, just from the lectures they were looking at, and I was doing some pharmacology and I didn't understand one of the reaction mechanisms, and I just sort of tapped them on the shoulder and went, you know, I'm really sorry, but I'm a bit stuck, and you've done this before, can you explain it to me? Not a problem. And that's not the first time I've had that kind of interaction. And just, like, you make friends really easily in the older years, and they will happily take time out to give you a full explanation of anything you want. It's such a supportive environment, and I can't recommend that aspect of it enough. And I'm sure that our year will do that for you guys that'll be coming up in the next years, and they will do it for the people after them, and I really hope that sort of thing continues, and we're all pitching in and adding our own resources into the mix on the study pages, and it's just been really good. And whether or not I pass the exams, which of course, hopefully I will, I don't regret anything at all about coming here and about doing this. I think it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. Took a lot of effort and preparation and things to get here, but even for the experience I've had so far, it's definitely been worth it. And it's on that positive note, guys, that I'm going to end the video. Thanks very much for watching. Please be sure to hit that like button for me, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos just like this, and go ahead and check out postgradmedic.com for my daily blogs of med school life and a load more useful resources. Take care and I'll see you soon.